if I simply tell the truth, I will be exonerated. Why have you not taken the stand?
I did not tell that to a journalist.
Well, I'm reading it. It's a quote from the Daily Beast.
Daily Beast?
You said, apparently, if I simply tell the truth, I will be exonerated.
Do you read the Daily Beast?
I do.
Really?
I do.
I'm not endorsing them.
With hindsight, would you do anything different?
Part 2.
There never was a part 2, of course, at least not for me. Just 8 days after this interview, the jury found Dr. Conrad Murray guilty of involuntary manslaughter, and he's now in custody awaiting sentence. The documentary that follows covers the 2-year period between Michael Jackson's untimely death and the trial and conviction of Conrad Murray.
We are interrupting our regular programming because there are reports that the singer and pop culture icon Michael Jackson has died.
LAPD detectives have gone to home where Michael Jackson was renting as part of what is essentially a routine death investigation.
The LA County coroner has ruled Michael Jackson's death a homicide, and the last person to see him alive is his doctor.
Conrad Murray figuratively and literally abandoned Michael Jackson.
Conrad murderer! Conrad murderer! Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
Mommy? Let's be strong.
We got cops on the street, so we're good.
Dr. Murray is not a perfect man. He's an imperfect man, like all of us. If the prosecution is going to get up here and tell you he's greedy and callous and reckless, you need to hear the full story about it.
I love you so much.
In the spring of 2009, Michael Jackson was poised for the biggest comeback of his career.
I'll be performing the songs my fans want to hear.
A record-breaking 50 concerts that summer at London's O2 Arena.
This is it. I mean, this is really it. This is the final curtain call.
To help him get through this grueling schedule, Jackson turned to Dr. Conrad Murray.
Michael was an incredible human being, the greatest performer of all time. We're friends, and I could never, ever betray his trust in me.
Conrad Murray was the last person to see Michael Jackson alive. On the 7th of November, he was found guilty of Jackson's homicide. It took 2 years for Dr. Murray's case to come to court. He never took the stand to defend himself.
My story is one of David and Goliath. I've seen the whole world coming at me. That's Goliath. You cast your fate to the wind, and it's left for others to judge and to make a decision.
Conrad Murray, as the doctor on scene, had a legal duty of care to use his best medical judgment to do no harm to Michael Jackson. He left this vulnerable man filled with Valium and midazolam and lorazepam and propofol with no medical monitoring equipment, no necessary resuscitative equipment. Conrad Murray's actions directly caused the death of Michael Jackson.
We believe that the evidence will tell you this, that Michael Jackson wanted to sleep for 10 hours, was frustrated, unable to sleep, and his doctor would not give him propofol, the drug that he wanted. And Michael Jackson swallowed up to 8 lorazepam pills on his own without telling his doctor, without permission from his doctor. And when Dr. Murray left the room, Michael Jackson self-administered a dose, an additional dose of propofol. And it killed him. And it killed him like that. And there was no way to save him.
During his opening statement, Murray's lead attorney, Ed Chernoff, introduced the idea that Michael Jackson took a fatal dose of the drugs propofol and lorazepam himself, a claim they would struggle to prove.
What I was going to say is Michael Jackson killed Michael Jackson, but because it was such a...
It looked like,
that would look like I was going after Jackson. I had to explain that, change that whole thing.
I think the whole notion that you laid out that it was lorazepam that killed him, I think it went... Whew.
They were surprised. They didn't know this. And that's because of what the media was portraying.
So am I okay to go around to the media and say, you do hear what happened, right? You do hear what the defense theory is. Is that cool to do, Ed? I told you there was a surprise today. Go over the opening of our opening statement. You know what killed him now. And it wasn't propofol.
The defense is fighting to get the media to even consider that Murray's treatment of Michael didn't lead to his death.
The way the media is running this, it's as if Dr. Murray came from hell up to earth specifically for the purpose of killing Michael Jackson.
The entire planet wants to know what happened to Michael Jackson.
Conrad Murray's relationship with Jackson began 5 years ago. One of Jackson's security team recommended Dr. Murray, the doctor who had saved his father's life. He made a house call to the singer's mansion in Las Vegas to treat his children.
This is where I met him, and I took care of himself and his 3 children initially. And then we developed a relationship as of that time on. He could not really enjoy his property. I mean, paparazzis were here, fans were around, everybody was looking into the property. And we escaped many a time, actually in this said vehicle. He would climb into the back seat and lay low. We would tell security, don't follow us. My heart pounded a little bit, but he liked those risks. I think he kind of cheered it on.
The 2 men spent time together in Las Vegas. Dr. Murray claims that the pop star was grateful for his assistance.
There were some things that he needed, personal hygienic changes, and unbelievably, never having had a manicure all your life, never having had a pedicure, walking around with painful feet as a dancer, unbelievable calluses. So I brought the appropriate specialists. He was very pleased, of course. Dancing without pain for the very first time, that was amazing. He felt that I was someone you can trust. And all of his life, he was searching for a friend. He had very close acquaintances. He spoke about Marlon Brando and his son, Fred Astaire, and Ginger. But friends he did not have. He said, of all my life, I have found one friend, which is you, Dr. Conrad.
The Los Angeles County coroner ruled Michael Jackson's death a homicide. The autopsy recorded that an overdose of the anesthetic propofol killed him.
I'm holding LAPD item 119, Your Honor, containing 2
100 milliliter propofol bottle. 7 20 milliliter propofol bottles. I'm opening the bag.
The use of propofol in a home setting is the most damaging evidence against Murray. But the defense believed that the 25 milligrams Murray claims he gave Michael was not enough to cause his death.
We're not communicating very well, Doctor. I asked you a question. What amounts of propofol do you use?
In my practice for procedural sedation, I couldn't imagine I would give a dose of 25 milligrams because I would not expect that would produce any level of sedation.
Is what you're saying is that 25 milligrams is a very small amount of propofol to give a patient?
25 milligrams would not be a sufficient dose in most patients.
You had some really good feedback about your performance, Juan.
They broke the mold right there. We needed that one.
Yeah. Well, she would start off with 60 milligrams. Doctor starts off with 25. He's obviously not over-medicated.
Mr. Blake. Lots of encouragement, letters.
You know, the point is to get the information to the jury. You did that perfectly. I got it. They got it. I saw them get it.
Justice for Michael!
Murray's lawyers are now working for free. To save money, Michael Flanagan, the LA-based member of the team, and his wife Susan have invited Ed Chernoff to stay at their home.
Everybody flocks around, and there's got to be 100 cameras. So she said, well, what about Michael Jackson being so screwed up? I said, yeah. See,